Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Daniel Jesse, your favorite high school substitute teacher. And what we are talking about today is a bit of an object lesson I had with my students today in school. My assignment was teaching physics and technology class. Well, not so much teaching, but substitutes aren't really teachers. Substitutes basically are just making sure you don't burn the building down kind of people. So my assignment today, anyway, was to be in a physics and technology class. And I decided I would challenge the students on some ancient technology to see if they could pass the quiz, pass the challenge. And hang on, camera's a little crooked here. Just a second, let me see if I can fix that. Alright, that's better. Not so much of a crooked camera. Anyway, so I decided I would challenge the students to see if they could pass this ancient technology challenge, let's call it. And so what the challenge was is operating this bad boy. Yes, indeedy, it is a old school rotary desktop phone. So anyway, I presented the challenge to them. What I would do is students wanted to take the challenge of basically because they work in tables, so I'd like set the phone down in the center of their table, and then I have this phone number here. Let's see if I can get that to focus. That's the phone number that I asked them to dial. So anyway, I would put the phone down and said, okay, dial this phone number. And they would be like looking at the phone and, you know, trying to interact with it, and like totally just like befuddled by it. And then they would go like that. And I'm like, no, you got the first step incorrect already. And they're like, what do you mean I got the first step incorrect already? And then they would do another one of these, and they would maybe push the light button, and then like, no, you're still getting the first step wrong. You're not getting the first step right. And then finally they figured out like, oh, you have to pick the receiver up. Gotcha. So they picked the receiver up, and I said, well, what do you do then? And they're like, I don't know. And I said, you listen for a dial tone. It's going to sound like beep, 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 or something like that. A dial tone in the handset. Like, oh, and then you can dial the phone number. So they would do that. And then I said, well, wait a minute. What if you only just like went halfway on the phone and didn't do it all right? Like this. Then I said, what would you need to do if you only got it halfway correct? They're like, I don't know. What do you do? So you have to hang the phone back up again, pick the receiver back up again. I mean, or you could just, you know, push the little buttons to hang up the phone, and then you would have to start the number all over again. You know, and they're like, really? That takes so long to do. And I'm like, yeah, totally. It takes way long to do. And so anyway, it was very fascinating to see, you know, period after period, you know, groups of kids coming in, and I would give the same challenge to the next classroom to see how well they did with the challenge. And there was like, actually, I don't think any of the students actually got it completely right. They would get like maybe, you know, they'd get the dialing part right, but they wouldn't get the pick up the handset part right at all. And so that was totally foreign concept to them. And so as a bonus question, then I said, all right, so now that you learned how to dial on the phone, I would say, what's the significance of the phone number 8675309? And they're like, I don't know. What is the significance? And I said, it's probably the most famous phone number in the world. Like, really? Is it the number to 911? I'm like, no, that's just 911. And so they came up with all these different things. Is it the phone number to the school? No. Is it phone number to the classroom? No. I said, it's one of the most famous phone numbers in the world. And they're just thinking about it, thinking, like, can we Google it? I'm like, yeah, Google it. And so they would Google 8675309. I'm like, it's a song? I'm like, yeah, it's the lyrics to a song. It's the chorus to the song Jenny from Tommy Two Tone. And so they were like, oh, really? So anyway, one of the students brought it up and listened to it, and like they thought it was rather interesting and entertaining to hear that song associated to that phone number. And so anyway, I tested it out with all of my classes today, and the results were basically the same. And at the end of the day, when I was checking out, I went to the administration, the secretaries, and I said, here's the object lesson I gave the students today. And I put the phone down in front of her. She's in her like mid-20s or whatever. Put the phone down in front of her and the phone number. I said, dial this phone number. And she had the same amount of luck as the rest of the students that didn't get the first step correct at all. None of that. And so that was quite fascinating. And then with the students, when students were in my class, I took it a little bit further. I said, all right, so if you wanted to call and get information on something, you would pick up the phone, you would dial 0 for the operator, then you would listen, and the operator would come on the phone, and then you could ask them the question or whatever to be able to get your question answered or to connect a phone call to somewhere. And then I asked them further, does anybody know what a collect phone call is? And one of the girls was like, is that like when you call from jail? I'm like, yes, that's when you call from jail. That's a collect phone call. But also anybody back in the day, before free long distance, could make a collect phone call by dialing the operator, listening for the operator to pick up, and said, hey, I would like to make a collect phone call. You would give them the phone number that you're dialing to, and then the operator would dial that phone number, the other party would pick up, then the operator would say, do you accept the charges from, and then you would state your name or whatever, and then the other person would say yes or no, and then if they accepted it, the operator would connect the call together, and then you're off on your way on that collect phone call. So I explained how collect phone calls worked. And then I also explained the life hack that the AT&T long distance company did in their long distance commercials way back in the 80s or 90s, something like that, but a long time ago when collect calls were still a thing. The AT&T commercial was where a husband and a wife were having a baby, and they needed to call collect to their relatives to announce the birth of their baby. And so they would call collect, making a collect call. The operator would say, who's the collect call from? And they would say, we had a baby, it's a boy, as their name. So what's your name? We had a baby, it's a boy. And then the person on the other line would get the message, they had a baby, it's a boy. No, we're good, we won't accept the call, but thanks, bye. And so the little life hack in getting short messages across to the other party on the other end via a long distance hack scenario. So anyway, that was my day today in substitute teaching, was how to operate a manual rotary telephone. By the way, I bought this phone a long time ago at an antique store. I bought it as a film prop so I can use it in different filmmaking sets as a prop. So that's the reason why I possess such an archaic thing. But anyway, that's what I got for you. It was an awesome, fun day today. Everything went great. It was a good time. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out the links below for the books on Amazon and the t-shirts on Amazon that you could purchase that I designed and wrote. And we will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day.